All right, so when it comes to budgeting, how good are you? Do you even have a budget? I have to admit, I don't really. I hate to say that, Anthony, but it's true. I don't really have a budget. I just, kind of hope that it all works out.
Yeah, I think
and I think so many of us are like that.
Exactly. Everyone's like that, so let's be honest. Doing some research on this topic about budgeting, I found that there's so many different programs. There's a lot of great advice. There's software programs, apps galore to help us manage our spending. But what most people, it's just too complicated for most people to realistically follow all these things that nobody ever does it.
We need to keep it simple.
Yeah, the common denominator with all of those great budgeting plans is it requires self-discipline.
Yeah.
And the group that probably could benefit from budgeting the most typically lack the most self-discipline.
That's right.
So today I wanted to walk you through a little bit of a two-step or three-step process to just kind of do a baby step into budgeting, which is just watching what you spend.
And this is needs versus wants, which is a big one, right?
Yeah, I don't even have to explain the concept.
We don't question that. We just, we should. Every time you want to do something, is it a need or a want?
Yeah, or is it like a want disguised as a need?
Yes.
It's wearing a fake mustache and glasses. So what I want you to do is I want to have you, this is a quick little challenge, take either a W or an N and just on these different subjects here, tell me which one you think is a want or a need.
Okay, and which I think is a definite need, right?
Yes, 'cause something you can't live without.
Right, okay.
It's a necessity.
Well, This one here, for sure, some sort of transportation, right?
Okay.
We have to have, I kind of think. You need to get somewhere, whether it's a vehicle or a bus, or I guess you could use your feet. So, and for me, I'd want to put this as a need, even though I don't know that I know that it's not. But for me, I can't live. I love my home decor.
You're being honest.
Then I would say that most of the rest. Whoops, sorry. Most of the rest of these is my fault. Stick it where it are.
Yeah, that's all right. Come on, Linda.
I know. So. Am I okay here?
You're doing good.
And I'll take this one off because I know that that's just my own personal need, but it's not. It's a want.
You did good. Now imagine that you did this little exercise with yourself, with your spouse. You taught this to your kids, and you get them trained on, is this a W or is this an N?
And we should really ask ourselves that every time we go to make a purchase of any sort, except for the basics, like as you said, the housing and the food.
Well, here's where we go. We talk about the pressures of spending. Everyone's got their smartphone nowadays. As soon as you turn your phone on and you want to go online to check something out, right away ads start popping up.
Yeah, ka-ching, ka-ching.
Yeah, so there's
too bad those little dollar signs couldn't float up around you every time you did that, right?
That would be sweet. That would be sweet. Now, going back to looking at how you spend, we want to try and teach you better habits and be more conscious and aware of your spending, because a lot of bad spending is unconscious spending. So what I wanted to show you here is once you start getting into the habit of deciding whether that's a W or an N. So if somebody gets a nice new jacket, you can say to somebody, hey, that's a nice W, or that you just got there.
Yeah.
Or that's an N. So you can kind of play with them.
Yeah, you kind of get used to that. And then what about this pie chart here? What are we breaking it down to?
This is where we're kind of starting. Everybody needs boundaries or restrictions to keep us in check. It's like that's why there's a speed limit, and every road's not the Autobahn. So with spending, we want to have healthy percentages that you can put in groups of where you spend your money so that you don't get too carried away. So for housing, 35%, that category would cover your mortgage payments, your rent, property taxes, condo fees, your utilities.
And it shouldn't make up more than 35% of what you make.
Net income,
right?
Yes. And then life is another category that's big that helps you put everything in. It's like the recycling box. You know exactly what goes in that section. This is everything from cell phone purchases to going out for drinks with your friends to buying
the things you want in life.
Yeah, your groceries, things that cost just to survive. That's in that category. Transportation, that's covering whether it's bus, cabbing it, your car payments, your lease payments, your insurance. All of those things fall under transportation. Debt payment is an obvious one. It's how much do you pay in additional debt. Credit card, they do allow room for that, but you don't want to exceed that 15% of your income.
So then this is a way to break it down as to how much you're making, to know the percentages that you've got here for each one of these.
Yeah, this graph, sometimes people are yawning at home saying, whatever, this thing is like boring. But when you actually take these percentages and now do a little exercise, we all know how much our take-home pay is. So we look at our pay and we just start to divide it into these percentages. We'll get numbers. So I've put together some standard amounts of money, net income per month. So let's say that you're a couple and you're bringing home combined maybe $5,000, you and your spouse, after taxes. That would show you that you have a limit of $1,750 for your housing. Transportation would be no more than $750 for that. So you have to start to think, once you start adding all these up and you break it down into a dollar amount, you can see for yourself where you're spilling over. And so if it's give and take, if you're good and you have no debt in your life, well, that's an extra $750 or 15% of your income that you could disperse otherwhere. You could maybe drive a little, treat yourself to a nicer car, or upgrade the house and buy some more home decor.
But it's all working within your own means and knowing how much that you have and knowing those percentages.
Just know the limits. And someone who makes a great deal of income, they still have to keep themselves in check. Sometimes people who make the most money spend the most, and they're no different than someone living paycheck to paycheck on a low income.
Yeah, and this is so important. Love it. Yeah. Really good. You just put it in such an easy perspective. You can go to CAP Financial Group, not AP, it'd be CAP Financial Group. Yes, sorry about that. 905-297-1179. capfinancial.ca for more great tips and information. Might be something you want to put on the to-do list for the new year especially. Thanks so much, Anthony. I thank you. All of my guests today. Have yourself a great day, and we'll see you next time on Hamilton Life.